Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Pro and Expert Division with various wins. Before we have a closer look at all the content here in this video, make sure that you do hit the thumbs up button, also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. Doing those three things doesn't cost you a dime and it helps the channel immensely. For those of you that do want to invest more in your game and become a better player quicker, then you can scan the QR code here on the screen or use the link that is in the description down below. Patreon.com/GolfClashTommy. And for those that are looking for more free content as well, our website GolfClashTommy.com is the place where you can find loads and loads on loads of free content to learn from. Follow the info box on the right hand side to get to the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also a ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind that those are all suggestions and you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there's always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number one. Hole number one in the Scotland 9-hole cup, we are going to go up the right hand side. Sure, you could send it here using a power 5 ball, especially when we do have some tailwind, but having an in-between type of wind isn't really the ultimate thing, especially when we do have a bit more crosswind than what we do have tailwind. But straighter tailwinds, definitely send it, and we send it on the left, trying to bounce on the pad. Max plus 10 is the adjustment from the right, and using 3 left spin and some topspin as well. Here, the important part is not go too far, but also not go too short. We kind of want to have either a wedge or we do want to have a short iron towards the pin. This is kind of in a scenario where I'm putting myself in between, which is an important lesson, which is also the reason why I'm choosing this video here. It's like, you can see here now that I'm moving up to max club and we are not really close to the pin, which means that this type of wedge is going to be a lot of guesswork. I'm going to have to play this one a bit more elevation than what I want it to be, and I'm going to have to guess based off where my max line is, how many rings I'm going to play. If I would be playing with a short iron, I would have to go for a dunk because I'm too close to otherwise use that short iron. Sure, then make the drive a little bit better than Tommy, I would say. Go back a little bit, use the short iron or roll a little bit longer and then use a wedge. Here in the end, I do make a good guess with the elevation. When it comes to the EB School, place plus 20 elevation. But if you're playing with a short iron here, you use an elevation that is minus 10. So it's a big difference when it comes to what type of play you're playing. And that's also proves the point with that elevation is just a number that you're using to build a solid adjustment. On hole number 2, I'm going for a rough bump here in this specific video. You can also use the fairway that is in between the two rough patches, meaning further back, and you can attack the pin by bouncing over instead. It all comes down to what you prefer. I would say from a tailwind perspective, you're gonna have to use some sort of a special ball if you're gonna bounce there center, if you're not gonna force yourself playing with a long iron. Max plus 20 is the adjustment here. I would say that the offset here is definitely necessary, and the reason for that is that we are otherwise going to miss left all the time. As we're doing a pretty hefty offset, there is no need for any underpower or overpower or curl, which is a positive thing when we're playing a par 3. And the ball will then clip the rough and then rolls down onto the green, and we're dropping nicely for an hole-in-one. Hole number 6 in the Scotland 9-hole cup is going to be a super boring hole if we do have a crosswind or we do have a headwind, because then we're going to have to have a much tougher layup first and foremost, and then second shot is going to be not impossible, but it's going to be very difficult to get an albatross from distance. But if we do have some tailwind, an opportunity opens up, and now it's all about how much you want to push it on the second shot. What I like to do here on the drive is to set a very little amount of spins here and use overpower to compensate for not using more spins. And that may not be for everyone, but for me that's the way to play this hole, because using a lot of spins here will risk getting a glitch roll, and that glitch roll is hard to control, and then it's very easy to roll into that rough there at the top. Now you can see that with this tailwind, didn't even need any overpower, which is absolutely perfect. Now I need to obviously focus on hitting perfect and not greats. So now I am having a solid distance. I'm preventing myself from having a glitch roll into the rough or risk that, and then I do have a shot at the pin on the second shot. If you do have a high level Cataclysm, I would recommend to use that club. You will have the ball guideline then, and you will not struggle with distance. If you do not have a high level Cataclysm, but you might have a Sniper 10, you can use that. It will, however, be that you may be short sometimes and might have to be a bit innovative to reach the intended landing spot. Making an adjustment that's no elevation, max distance. Obviously, in a scenario like this is an outside chance for an Albatross, and we're playing mainly to lock in the Eagle. But in the best of the worlds, we are getting ourselves a look at the Albatross, which we're not really getting there. But by attacking the pin a little bit more, maybe with some curl, more left spin or something like that, we definitely have the Albatross in play. But very tough one to drop here on hole number 6 in the Scotland 9-hole Cup. On hole number 4, we're gonna play a par 3 that is called the Hourglass, and what we're looking to do here now is to do it as simple as possible. One top spin, one left spin, and looking to have, as you can see, the ball guideline to be more or less completely straight, or as straight as we can with the ball guideline through the hole, in a ring to be by the rough line. Once we have done that, we shall turn to pull our rings. And here the adjustment will differ depending on what type of wind angle you have. If you have a tailwind, headwind, or crosswind, all gonna differ in that case. Obviously, the closer we can get to play like a 1-to-1 type of play, the better it's going to be. So again, you can design this type of play in many different ways. The elevation is +10. Perfect ball it is, and we do clip the rough, rolls up the green, coming in lovely, and we are dropping this one nicely for an all-in-one. Take your game to the next level with our Ultimate Tournament text guides for Expert and a Master Division for the 7th anniversary tournament. It's honestly unbelievable that we have been playing this game for so long, but we keep on making guides, keep on improving players play, and having fun in the game. Scan the QR code here on the screen or go directly to patreon.com/golfclashtommy via the link in the description down below. Have in mind that you can play with free-to-play balls and paid balls and follow our guides and get some success. In my opinion, having a guide makes you save money because it will take away the need of doing those extra practices, spending those extra ball, and spending that extra time that they otherwise have to do to be competitive and get to the weekend round. So, once again, get to the weekend round in an easy way and compete for the top spots with our Ultimate Tournament text guide. Scan the QR code or use the link in the description down below. Hole number 5, we are playing with the rock as an NMT with a P3 ball. And then I'm swapping to a P5 ball, such as a Berserker. You can play with any other power 4 or power 5 ball if you would so like. The only thing that we do want to have is that we do want to have a specific amount of side spin. As you can see here, we're using 5 topspin, which is a maximum with the rock level 9. Max curl to the left, max overpower with a slow needle. And you can see that even with a great left, we are managing to get to green. Because this is a play where we're getting to green or to be just by the green. You can't really get an hole-in-one because the pin stands so close to the water. But an easy eagle, you can most definitely get that. If you do not have the rock level 9, you can always start with the rock and then you can swap to like an Apocalypse after your adjustment to allow yourself to get the top spin needed, because you do not have the 5 top spin on the lower level rock. Hole number 3 in the Scotland 9-hole Cup. a short par 4 of the Glenmonarch Estate. And here, if we do have tailwind and crosswind, we are going to send it. If we do have a headwind, we're going to have to lay up, unfortunately. So NMT with the rock and a P3 ball. Then I'm swapping to a P5 ball just to ensure that we're having a little bit more wind, but also then gives us a much slower needle when it's time to take our shot. Adjust max plus 10 using 5 top spin and 1.5 bar of left spin. What you need to have in mind here is that if you do not have rock level 9, you can always start with any rock that you're having, and then you can swap to the Apocalypse instead. That will allow you to get the top spin needed, because the lower level rocks don't have the 5 top spin. All the curl to the left, you can see a completely slow needle. Even if I do hit great left, I'm just on the green for a simple eagle. And that's what this is gonna be. If it is a favorable wind, this is going to have to be an eagle, because the majority of your opponents will get that, and you will have to get it yourself too. Hole number 7, we can play this one from an NMT perspective with our sniper, but I would recommend to do that more in a straight crosswind, or even in a tailwind. In a headwind, the ball guideline will be compressed too much, that we either have to just move up with our sniper, or we go up and we do play a rough bump, whatever you prefer to do. Now, the adjustment will differ massively depending on what wind angle you have here. If you do have a tailwind or a headwind or a crosswind, that will differ. So find what adjustment that works for you. The elevation is plus 20, and that's what we're going to use. Spins will also vary. I mean, you can use right spin and land more left in the rough. You can use left spin and more land. You can use right spin and land more left, or you can use left spin and land more right. Again, all depends on personal preference. Adjustment is done. We hit perfect with the ball, and then clips the rough, rolls down towards the pin, and we're dropping this one nicely for an hole-in-one. Hole 5 is another send it if it is a tailwind. And here we're gonna do a little special thing. We're using the rock. The reason I'm using the rock is due to its brilliant accuracy. It truly helps, especially for hitting some great balls. Stretching out up into max with tip of the ball guideline to point towards the bunker. Then I'm adding a specific spin based on wind angle and wind strength. And you can see here now that I'm adjusting very little. I'm adjusting only the difference between a certain wind. But in the end though, the point with showing this video is that in tailwind we can send it. In a crosswind you can kind of send it, but you need to be have a lot of luck to get that eagle. If you do have a headwind, you're gonna have to lay up, and then you lay up either left or right and get yourself a nice look at the eagle. No matter what though, you're gonna have to get an eagle on this one, because that's what your opponents will get, especially if you're looking to win or get a top spot in the tournament. Max plus 10 is the drive. The second shot, if that happens to be a short iron, that's no elevation on that shot. So hole number 5 in the Scotland 9-hole Cup is a good chance for an eagle. So for hole number 3 here for the Eurotrip 9-hole Cup, which is also hole number 9 of the Glenmonarch Estate, what we're gonna do here now is to go across the water. I would strongly advise you to play with a power 5 ball, not what I'm doing here in the video, trying to just be almighty here by trying to play with a power 3 ball. So any power 5 ball with as much wind resistance possible is good, because we do want to avoid going with overpower, especially when there are so much water in play. Maximum distance plus 15. The spin will vary all from 1 backspin to 3-4 topspin bars. Could be more topspin as well if it is a really bad wind. So that one I don't want to lock in. That's something we're going to have to just see what wind angle we have, because we really need to think about our distance after the rough line there and after the water, because we don't want to roll into the bunker. Now, for the second shot, it's a long one. The pin stands as it does, which means that we're not going to attack the pin at all, because it's too much risk for the reward that might get. We're playing no elevation, max distance here. I would strongly recommend to once again to play with a power 5 ball off tee, because that will help the second shot as well and make that so much easier. But now I'm not really spending much thought here on this shot, trying to just ping this ball onto the green or being on the fringe slash fairway just by the green for a simple wedge. And I mean, this is probably one of the most boring par 5s there is in the game with this whole location, as it's not really a makeable one. You need to be a lot of luck. You need to be very lucky, or we're gonna have to have a really good send it where we can ping the ball forward and then attack the pin from a different angle. But I mean, that's not happening that often, unfortunately. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching this playthrough for Pro and Expert Division with various wins here for the 7th anniversary tournament in Golf Clash the game. Scan the QR code here on the screen or go directly to patreon.com/golfclashtommy via the description down below and start improving your game today. Thank you once again for watching. I wish you the best of luck in your Golf Clash game.